Hi everyone, welcome to Shrinks with Drinks. Today we're going to do a segment of healthy living, healthy eating also. So for me, I cook a certain way and I pretty much have eliminated any kind of flour in my diet. I have used natural flour in mine. So I'm going to make a recipe today and it's going to be a cherry almond muffins and we're going to pretty much make it from scratch. I'm going to use coconut flour and tapioca flour, that's my base. So let's get started. So right now, I'm going to do all the dry at this time. The dry is going to be a half a cup of coconut flour and then a half a cup of tapioca starch. So let me get these in here without making too much of a mess. Okay, leveled off. And I did this actually backwards. I like to do the starch first before I do the flour, the coconut flour, but oh well, we might have a little mess with the starch. All right, whoops. Okay. All right, so that there will be our flour for this muffins. And then we're gonna put, you can do either soda or powder, but I use the aluminum-free powder, and I do a teaspoon of this, of the baking powder. I do think that the baking powder rises the muffins a lot better than soda does. Next, we're gonna go ahead and stick in some cardamom and cinnamon. So I do 2 teaspoons of the cinnamon, and then only 1 teaspoon of the cardamom. Cardamom I like the taste because it adds a little zest to it, a little zing to it. All right, that is our dry right there. We're gonna set this aside and then we're gonna go on to making the wet. All right, our dry ingredients are done. We're gonna move on to the wet now. So normally I use my eggs. I have chickens, so I normally use my fresh eggs, but I forgot them. So we're gonna use regular store-bought eggs today. So my base on the wet is, I use coconut oil. And this one I use, which I really like, is the triple filtered because it doesn't have that strong coconut oil taste. So it's very mild, it's very light. And we're gonna do is a 1/4 of a cup. No, actually a half a cup. My apologies. We're going to do a half a cup of coconut oil. And we're going to mix in, I don't use regular sugar either. I use coconut sugar. And the coconut sugar, we're going to do a 1/4 of a cup of coconut sugar inside of this. All right. I'm going to mix this together. So that's our oil and our sugar. Get it a little bit blended together. And let's go into the eggs now. Normally stick out your eggs. Keep them room temperature. That's how I do it. I just have my eggs on the counter because they're fresh eggs. But if you do, have store-bought eggs, just keep them on the counter before you cook any kind of baking. It just sort of blend better when they're room temperature. All right, that is blended. Next, we're going to mix in a half a cup of applesauce. Why do I use applesauce? Applesauce adds a good moisture to the muffin, so they'll be nice and moist. But it also, I do unsweetened applesauce, and it also gives it a little sweetness. Apples do have a natural sugar in them, so they are a little sweeter. So besides using the coconut sugar, which coconut sugar has more of a molasses taste to it, not as much as molasses, but it does have sort of like a molasses taste. So the applesauce is going to bring some of the sweetener inside of the recipe. And make sure you always use unsweetened applesauce. That way you're cutting back on some of those sugars and preservatives. All right, that we'll do that. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the wet to the dry. All right, so I blended it real good, got it all mixed together. Now we're going to blend this together. And then next we're going to add some cherries to it. All right, so just blend in the flour mixture. No KitchenAid needed in this recipe. All right. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and get the cherries. Now you can do anywhere. I like cherries, so I actually do a lot of cherries. I do about 1.5 cups of cherries. But you can do anywhere. If you really don't care for cherries, you can just maybe do 1 cup or so of them. I do about 1/2 cup. And the reason why I'm putting it in the food processor at this moment is because I don't want to sit here and chop them with a knife. So I'm just going to pulsate them until they are chopped up. Alrighty. So that went ahead and chopped up all the cherries. Nice. Any way to make it easier when you bake, take advantage of it. Food processors are awesome when it comes to cooking and baking. It makes your life easier. All right, last but not least, we have to add the almond to it. So just a little almond extract. It's only about 1 teaspoon is all you're really gonna need. All right, now mix all this together. And that makes the muffin itself. So fold those in there. Don't overfold it that it becomes too cherry looking. So that's about right. Take our muffin pan, fill them up. And then next we're gonna make what's a granola topping on top is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna show you how to make one from scratch, is the granola topping. It's very simple. It's just a few ingredients. My main ingredients is almond inside of there, and we will go from there. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and make the granola. So there's our muffins in the pan. Let's set those aside. And next, we're going to go ahead and make the granola. And the ingredients we're going to need for the granola is some almonds. So I just use organic raw almonds, not salted, not roasted, none of the above, just raw almonds. And I pretty much use about 1 cup of them. And I just go ahead and put them inside of, where's my little thing? Again, my food processor, it is my best friend. Yeah, do them all. All right. So I need them chopped up finely to make this granola. So again, I'm just going to pulsate. And that looks good. They're nice, they're chopped up, but they're not all the way chopped up. We still want it to be a granola kind of consistency. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use 2, I love my cinnamon, so I use 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Honey, anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of honey. Right about there, that's good. A little bit of Himalayan, I use Himalayan salt. I like it. I think it tastes the best. It also has a lot of minerals inside of it. So, and we all can use minerals. So about 1/2 teaspoon of Himalayan salt. All right, let's mix that together. And we're gonna mix this till it gets to a consistency of like almost a dough, but not quite of a dough. There we go. All right, so that's our consistency, more of like a little doughy, sticky together. Let's put this inside of here and let's put them on top of the muffins. Now you can also cook this just on the baking sheet itself. So if you just want granola itself, You can make this with pecans instead of almonds, whatever your nut choice is. Walnuts you can do it with. So whatever the nut choice that you prefer, you can make it also instead of doing it with almonds. But because this is an almond muffin, we're using almonds. All right, so just a little bit, where's my spoon? Just a little bit on top is all we need to do. You know, normally if I wasn't on camera, I would be doing this with my fingers. They would be washed and cleaned. So what I have the oven set at is 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. So let's go ahead and pop those in the oven and get them baking. So I just realized that I forgot to do the butter. You need 1/4 of a cup of cold butter. So I normally use a grass-fed butter. I do like this brand. And what I normally do is when I used everything, the nuts, the cinnamon, along with the honey, I do about 1/4 a cup of butter and I just mix it all together. And voila, the final. That is our almond cherry muffins. And soon, Shrink Sarita will come out and taste them for you guys. All right, it's time for Shrink Sarita to come on in and give a taste test to the muffins. Hi.
So what kind of muffins are these again?
We made a flourless cherry almond muffins with a crunchy granola on top.
All right, you know I'm honest, right? So I can't help
honest.
but to see if these are going to be good. Let's see.
All right. All right.
So this is a crunchy granola topping?
This is a crunchy granola made out of almonds and cinnamon and honey and butter.
Oh, okay, butter. We're good.
Butter. Ooh.
My Paula Dean's secret grandchild she never had. I love butter.
Butter makes everything better.
Yes, it does. Oh my God, it looks already so delicious. I love the color in these. Okay, excuse me, I'm not very proper. I'm just gonna jam my face into these.
All right.
Oh my God, this is so good. No, this is seriously good.
Well, thank you. Seriously, they're seriously good. I like it.
Thumbs up.
Mmm. Oh, we're going.
There's a sweetness, the crunch.
Mm-hmm.
The texture is really good. You said there's no flour in here.
No flour. It's made with coconut flour and with tapioca starch. So no flour at all. It's flourless.
I'm gonna have a really big sweet tooth, so this is good. This is satisfying.
And it has no sugar.
What do you mean no sugar?
There's no sugar in this. Not
At
one.
all?
No, the only sugar I put was coconut sugar.
Oh my God, it's really, it's not too sweet, but you can still get some sweetness out of it even without the sugar.
And applesauce.
Oh my God, it's so good.
All right, I'm happy. You like it.
And just jet off to work in between clients.
And you know what else? What's really nice is I put 4 eggs in it, so that means it's high in protein.
Good. So it's like a good, snack before the gym.
Good snack before the gym. Good morning, breakfast, whatever.
Love it.
Or if
Y'all
you got
have to try these. Try the recipe.
Yeah. Or if you got a sweet tooth.
Please do try it. They're so good.
I'm glad you like them.
I love it. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Woo! Woo! Thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you guys enjoy the recipe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give comments. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you again.